Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It is not quite Christmas. You're wondering then what I was going to say, weren't you? All right. So, uh, before we really get going, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to Great Eagle, who, as always, is standing amongst all of the glitter of the tree. And of course, all of the glitter of me as well. I'm competing with the Christmas tree, you can see, right? And I'd like to say good morning to Chris, and I'd like to say good morning to all of you out there who, well, is there anybody there, Chris? I mean, am I talking to myself?
A lot of people already.
All right. So I'm sorry, I'm wriggling about. I'm not in my usual place. I'm with my daughter in her apartment. Every now and again, you'll get a glimpse of her when she peeks around. You might see her as she moves around. Say good morning, Samantha.
Good morning.
There you go. That's as much as she's going to give input today because she's busy. She's working. All right. So here I am now. I could not let the Christmas tree outdo me, although I think it might be actually outdoing me for the glitter and so on. But look at this. I put on my, see, it's Christmas. I put on my sequin jacket. I've got my diamonds and emeralds going here. I mean, look at this. So I'm all dressed up for this Christmas show. So before we get going, I would like to first of all thank everyone who came on Saturday, everybody who commented on Saturday. Thank you. For those of you who were worried about me, you can see, look at me. I mean, I did tell you on Saturday, don't take any notice of, when you're going into a trance state and someone else is using your body takes on a whole different, I don't know what, a different persona almost. It is a different persona because it's Gregor in this case who's using my body. We had such an unbelievable treat. I actually caught glimpses prior to the show, and I'm thinking to myself, surely not. But hopefully, maybe. But wouldn't that be something? And you're all, those of you who didn't attend Saturday, aren't you wondering, what is she talking about? Well, I'm actually talking about the fact that Grey Eagle came and sat in on our Grey Eagle Speaks show. And not only did he come not only was he present, there were certain times when he was giving messages. Wow, I mean, you blew me away. And from many of your comments, I think you were blown away as well. The video for this will be available, but we're going to have to wait till the new year because we're all far too busy with Christmas and I'm traveling. But the video of Saturday, if you would like the video, if you want to just drop us an email and be patient with us, and then after the new year, we shall inform you of what you need to do in order to obtain the video. I have a very good friend who did attend Saturday, and he was our tester. Actually, this guy features in this whole show this morning, but he was our tester for the show, for the video. And so I know I texted him this morning to say, have you seen it? Yes. He said, how many times? And I put a question mark, what? And he said, well, I've already watched it twice, so I'm going to watch it again. So he's thoroughly testing the video so that we make sure that when you get the video, it is what it is. There's no pieces missing and so on. And even for those of you who didn't attend, the video will be available to you if you so wish. Email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com and put in the subject line video. Just why don't you just put that so that we know that you are one of those people who is interested in finding out more information about what you have to do to receive the video, and we'll get to it. But please, please be patient. We also have other videos which will also be available, again, whether you attend or whether you don't attend. They're amazing, and they're amazing to watch. They are great teachers. They can show us how and why things happen. The wisdom from Grey Eagle is amazing. So you know, you know, you will be able to obtain those if you so wish. And again, if you are patient with us, everybody's rushing around for the holidays anyway. Whether it's Christmas you celebrate, or whether it's something else you celebrate, or just whether it's just being with family going to celebrate, that's great. But I'm here with my family, and I'm in New York, and I will absolutely not be available until after the new year. This is my time with my daughter and with my I was going to say beautiful grandson, with my beautiful daughter and my beautiful grandson. Let me not give preference one over the other, although he is so cute. And I went to his school concert. The band was playing, and we sat on very hard chairs for 2 hours, but it was really worth it to see my grandson playing the piano, accompanying a whole orchestra, which was pretty neat, really. Anyway, so on that subject, also, if you want tickets, any of you are coming into New York in March, if you want tickets to come and see my grandson playing at Carnegie Hall, March the 15th. He's
we're on YouTube.
Pardon? And oh yeah, sorry. My daughter, who wasn't going to say a word, says you can follow him on YouTube. You'll find him Rhys, R-H-Y-S. It's the Welsh spelling, of course. Rhys. What's he go under?
Astel.
Rhys Astel, A-S-T-E-L. Rhys Astel on YouTube, and you can see him on YouTube playing to his heart's content. And of course, he'd love to have you join him on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to have a little drink. Chris, while I'm having this drink, we have any questions, any comments, anything going on there?
Well, a lot of people came in with great things to say about Saturday. Annika says, I much enjoyed the Grey Eagle Speaks event. Let me see if somebody else was there. Hoping everyone is blessed with answered prayers this holiday season. Draw close to him and he will draw close to you, from Judith. Gary's on in rare form and saying, wishing all a Merry Christmas and amazing New Year. Actually, happy next 4 years. And everybody.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's commenting on how absolutely stunning and gorgeous and beautiful you are.
Look at see, I've got to compete with this Christmas tree, which isn't it glorious? This Christmas tree in the background. I'm just now wondering, did I do the right thing by putting on my glad rags for Christmas? Or, you know, that's what we call them in England now. Glad rags means our posh stuff. For those of you who don't know what the word posh means, look it up. And so I'm not sure if I should have dressed down to give the Christmas tree more sparkle. Nah, why would I do that? Because it's sparkling enough as it is, and it's very Christmassy. And there's you can't, of course, smell it, but there's a wonderful scent of pine here in this wonderful room that we're sitting in now with my daughter, who's diligently working away and pretending that we're not doing this. Right, well, I'm glad that Gary is on, because I have promised you all an angel story. Now, I can tell you lots and lots of angel stories. I have my own personal angel stories, things that happened to me with angels that I actually witnessed with my own eyes. But this story today is a story for Gary. It is Gary's story of his own angel. It's his own angel story. He has given me permission to talk about this a little bit. Before we get to Gary's story, is there anybody else with a comment or a question here, Chris?
Yeah, but they're gonna take up your time to answer them. But I did want to share what Gary said. Beside wowzer, you look beautiful. He said, "Do you come with batteries? You're so glitzy." Oh, I just love that.
What do you think? I'm a Barbie doll here? Yeah, you know what? Barbie is always young and pretty, and all pretty girls love her and so on. I wonder if they'd have an old lady Barbie. Would they consider an old lady Barbie? And maybe I could audition for that part. Right. Okay. Right. So I'm going to get into the story a little bit. Now, first of all, you've all heard me say, or hopefully most of you have heard me say, when we're talking about angels, people used to ask me, do you believe in angels? And I would say, I don't know. I've never personally seen one, so I'm going to, hold off my opinion, because I think if you've never experienced something, or you've never seen something, when other people talk about it, I'm very skeptical person. I'm a skeptic. I'm the worst or the biggest, actually the best skeptic, because I'm a bit like the doubting Thomas, the Jesus disciple. I've got to see the holes in the hand before I'll believe that is actually, Christ pinned to the cross. I know. You think I would believe, but I'm still, after all these years, I still hold my skepticism. I like to think that if somebody tells me a story, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, but I'm still skeptical. I want to form my own opinions, and usually when people are telling me a story, I'm listening with Gregor, and Gregor is giving his input as well. So that's a good thing too. So I have said to all of you so many times, our angels, most of us think of, when we think of angels, we think of Christmas time, we think of the halo, the wings, the white dress, all the stuff, don't we? We think of all that, the really sort of beautiful glitzy stuff that they wear, not glitzy, but beautiful, purity. That's when we think of angels, and usually we think of them surrounded by an incredible light. But there are angels who actually don't look at all like angels. I think in one of my books I wrote, an angel can be that sort of snot-nosed kid, vagabond, tatty clothes and so on, running in the street. You would never look at that child and say that's an angel, but angels come in many forms and they disguise themselves. Yes, they do. They're naughty. Anyway, so an angel can be that, old tramp sitting on the bus next to you. You sort of doesn't smell so good. And your angel can come in any form or any disguise. The old woman sitting on the pavement, seemingly homeless. Angels come in many forms, many shapes, many sizes, and they are all around us on this earth plane. We have our earth angels, those angels who come here, live here for a while, experience this earth and so on. There are many different types of angels. So this is what I want you to understand, that angels very often have their disguises. Okay, so in order to tell this story, I have to tell a bit of the background. And this is Gary's story. Gary's on today. So Gary, if I get any part of it wrong, you've got the chat room and you can please feel free to correct me, please. So, all right. So going back, Gary's family, after Gary's brother died, Gary's brother Steve, Gary and Steve were very, very close. They were, Steve was not much older than Gary. and they grew up together. They were very close. They had an amazing mother who I happen to know, and she's wonderful. She's fantastic. She is a woman of great faith, amazing, I would say unshakable faith. You know, she did, so this is a wonderful family. Now, prior to Gary being born, Gary's father disappeared. Off he went on his merry way. Gary and his brother never met him, never saw him. He never came to visit them. He abandoned their mother. He abandoned both them and their mother. So they grew up being a very tight, very, very close-knit family. All right. Now, if I'm sharing too much about your life, Gary, stop me. Say stop. Just put stop in the chat room. So now fast forward, and Gary and Steve, still very close as brothers, and Steve has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, I think. All right, so they're all very close. They share Christmases together. They have barbecues, summer barbecues, so on and so forth. Steve's wife is not so friendly, let's put it this way. Steve's wife has her own agenda and is probably, you know, and I could understand why she might be a little bit jealous of Steve and Gary's relationship. And I can certainly understand why she might be jealous of Steve and his mother's relationship, because as I've said, they have this incredible bond. Now, unfortunately, Steve unexpectedly, very suddenly, very quickly, maybe 20 years ago, died. And a little while after that, Gary's niece and nephews, and their mother, for whatever reason, and nobody's quite sure whatever reason, we know it has something to do with the mother, but for whatever reason, they began to distance themselves to the point where they wouldn't have anything to do with their grandmother, which is Gary's mother, who is gorgeous and generous and lovely, and kind. And so they have, basically, cutting it very short, Gary's brother Steve, his children have abandoned the mother, and then unfortunately they have abandoned Gary. But Gary has always felt for Steve, if Steve, you know, what does Steve want? Gary knows Steve's still around. What does Steve want? I need to keep a connection with his kids. That's what Steve would want. But every year it becomes harder, and every year at Christmas time it becomes harder still, because Gary has always sent them cards. He sent now there are children, there are grandchildren, and there are great-grandchildren. So Gary's always sent them cards, given them money, given them gift vouchers, so on, and he's been doing this now for his brother Steve for 20 years. And many times, Gary has prayed, Steve, tell me what to do. Steve, you know, let me know what's going on. What am I doing the right thing? What should I do? Because he's always had Steve's interests at heart, and he's always wanted Steve to know that whatever his own feelings are, because you can imagine now that Gary is disgusted that all these kids have turned their back on their grandmother, great-grandmother, whatever she is, and even great-grandmother, I think. Anyway, so they've completely turned their back. And this was seemingly a really close-knit family until Gary's brother died. I know this happens in lots of families. I see it all the time. You know, families are often so dysfunctional, and sometimes there's no real reason for it. A reason that we can actually grasp hold of. It's not as if we can go knocking on the door and say, look, my mother said this and this, and we're really sorry if it's offended or upset you. Nobody's speaking about anything when Gary's asked them, what is it my mother is supposed to have done? Nobody talks, nobody says anything, because the bottom line is she didn't really do anything that badly anyway. And I think it was Steve's wife, ex-wife, who just wanted to remove herself and her kids from Gary's family. Okay, no judgment there from me. I'm just telling you the story as it is. Okay, now we come to the interesting stuff, but I had to give you that background so you can understand why would an angel, if indeed it was an angel, why would an angel come to Gary? He's nobody special, nobody particular. He's sort of, you know, he likes to fish, he likes to go out into the woods, he likes camping, he's a regular down-to-earth guy, he chopped his own wood, he feeds his animal. Why would an angel, do you think, come to Gary? So, okay, so we now go back, I think it's 2 weeks perhaps. And every morning, now Gary's mother now is 95, I think 94, 95 years old. So every morning Gary goes over and makes her breakfast, and they have tea together, and they sit and they chat, and then he goes back at lunchtime, and then he goes back at dinner time. So basically, luckily they live on the same property, different houses, so he doesn't have to walk that far, but still. And his mother still has all of her faculties. She might deign to use a walking stick if she's forced to. She doesn't like the walker at all. She's not so keen on that. Very independent person, but again, lovely. So this particular morning, so Gary went to sit with his mother, and he's thinking about Christmas and what should I do now with all my nieces and nephews. And he said to his mother, he said, I just wish Steve would, I wish he'd just tell me what to do. He said, I feel, that's my daughter in the background, sorry, sneezing. I just feel, he said, that I just could, maybe I should just, I'm trying to remember the exact words that Gary used, but basically he said to his mother, I'm thinking about just cutting them off, just, you know, ending it, just cutting them off, and just not bothering about this Christmas, and just you know, just cutting them out of my life. They weren't the words that Gary said. I wish I could remember them, but I can't. But anyway, let's suppose that they were the words that Gary used. So his mother never ever says to him, that's what you should do, or don't do that, or she just leaves him to make up his own mind about it. That's how good she is. I'm not sure in her position I would be as happy if my daughter cut me off from my grandson. I'd be over there, but she would never do it. But anyway, so it's just a horrible thing for somebody to do. So
Rosemary?
anyway, Gary, yes.
Gary says, cut the cord.
Thank you. I know. Thank you. Right. So he says to his mother, thank you so much. So Gary says to his mother, I think I'm just going to cut the cord and just, you know, wash my hands of the whole thing. I'm just going to cut the cord because every time he sent the gifts and so on, there was, I think one person in the entire family might have written back and said thanks, and the others just, I guess they spent the money, but never acknowledged that Gary had even sent them anything. So, all right, so he walks out of his mother's house. He's now got a plan to go to Sam's Club, which is, for those of you in other countries who don't know, it's like an enormous grocery store which sells just pretty much anything and everything. So his final words to his mother were, I think I'm just going to cut the cord. So a half an hour later, he's at Sam's Club. I'm going to wait till my daughter stops moving around. Okay. So half an hour later, he's at Sam's Club. And he gets a big flatbed trolley because he's going to get planning to get a lot of things in Sam's Club. And there's this young guy, he's pushing other carts into Sam's Club. And he's a, young black guy, moustache. That's all we know about him. And so he starts to push the carts alongside Gary. And he says to Gary, just out of the blue, he says, "Do you believe in karma?" And Gary says, "Yes, why?" And this guy, we're going to call him Michael. This guy, Michael, we don't know his name, but I'm going to call him Michael. So Michael says to Gary, "Well," he says, "I have to tell you," he says, "I just cut the cord with my family a year ago, and I've never been happier. You have a nice day now." And off he goes. And Gary is standing there, as you can imagine, speechless. He turns and looks to see if anybody heard. There's nobody around. While this conversation was happening with this guy, Michael, it was as if he couldn't hear a cart, he couldn't hear a trolley, he couldn't hear people's voices. And in these places are big and noisy places. But he said afterwards, when he thought about it, he said, "I felt as if I was in a bubble." So he turns to see if anybody heard, and then he turns back, and Michael has disappeared into the crowd. Now, the next thing, I get a text. "I've got to tell you this story." So I call him. "What's going on?" He tells me the story. He said, "I used those words to my mother half an hour before I got to Sam's Club. I said, I'm thinking of cutting the cord with the family." He said, "And this guy comes up to me and uses the exact same words. I cut the cord with my family a year ago, and I've never been happier. You have a nice day now." And off he goes. And Gary says after him, "You too." And then he's sort of standing there and he's completely dazed. Doesn't quite know what to make of it. Goes into Sam's Club, searches for this guy. He knows he'll know him if he sees him. He searches for him. He's not there. Can't find him anywhere. So he calls me. He says, "So what was that?" And I said, "What do you think it was?" And I'm asking all of you listening to the story, what do you think it was? Remember, our angels come to us with many disguises. They come to us in our time of need. When Gary said to his mother, "I'm thinking of cutting the cord," it wasn't something he said lightly. He prayed to his brother 3 days before, "Can you please help me? Tell me what to do. I want to know what it is that you want me to do." Because Gary was only interested in doing whatever Steve would like him to do. Is Michael this young black kid pushing the trolleys into Sam's Club? I mean, is he an employee there? What do you think? Could he just be a shopper, just pushing the carts for fun, or what? Or could it possibly be that God heard Gary's plea, his prayer? "Please tell me what to do." The angel said, "I cut the cord with my family a year ago, and I've never been happier." If that isn't a message from a higher power, I'm not quite sure what is. We can explain it away. We can say, "Oh, it was coincidence," but to come up to a total stranger and ask, "Do you believe in karma?" Yes, why? 2 words that Gary spoke. And when the angel had said, I cut the cord with my family a year ago and I've never been happier. You have a nice day now. And Gary said, you too. 4 words he spoke. 4 words in that whole scenario, which left him standing in a bubble, wondering what. So when he called me, is that what I think it was? I said, my goodness, you had a visit from an angel. And he knew it. When I told him, it wasn't something he didn't know. He knew it absolutely. He knew that this guy was his angel. And saying to him, you know, we've heard your words, cut the cord. I'm using those words precisely as you said them to your mother. Cut the cord and you'll be happy. I'm happy, you'll be happy. And the rest of that day, Gary walked around. He said it felt as if his shoes had cushions in them. He felt like immediately as if he'd been carrying a heavy backpack on his back and it had been lifted off completely. He said he never felt so light. And Gary, while I'm telling this story, if you'd like to put in a comment, any extra comment there, that's fine. So when Gary called me, he's telling me this story. And those of you who know me and you've seen me work won't be at all amazed by this, will you? I mean, you just won't be. But when he was talking to me, standing right in front of me was his brother Steve, who I've met. I know Steve. And Steve is standing looking at me and is listening to Gary telling me this story, and Steve is nodding away, and yes, it was his angel, and I was right there too. And your prayers have been answered. Steve had a lot more to say, you can imagine. That's for Gary, that's private for him. But one thing he did say, which was a further confirmation. There's no doubt that Steve loves his kids. There's no doubt he's not abandoned them. He's not angry with them or upset with them in the way that we might be if we were, you know, he knows better than that. But what he did say to Gary was, which was very telling, don't feel guilty. They don't deserve you. You've given them every chance and they don't deserve you. Which was further confirmation to Gary that he could literally let go of the burden of having to deal with his nieces and nephews and never ever have to think about them again, because obviously they never think about Gary and they never think about their grandmother. And it's a very sad story in a way that families often, and I'm sure many of you have got your stories to tell about your own families. I could tell you stories about my family that would make your hair curl, but we all have those stories, and you know, most families are dysfunctional in one way or another. But imagine there you are, you're in a shopping mall, and you know, this guy comes up to you. You know, he's sort of just a young guy in his 20s probably, and no wings, no halo, no bright light, but definitely an angel sent from God. And Gary's brother confirmed that for us as well. So this story is amazing, and Gary hopefully is going to tell us or give us a comment as to how he's feeling now 2 weeks later. Is he still walking on air? Is he doubting? What do you think? What do you think? Is he thinking, no, it was me. No, that couldn't be. That, you know, the thing about when you meet an angel and especially those angels that don't look like angels, Those of you who read my books know all about the angel in the church who came in so drunk. So anyway, you can either read the story or I'll tell you that story another time. But our angels, they come to us in many forms. They come to us in many guises. And they, sometimes they're disappointed in us. And sometimes they are incredibly joyful for us. There's no judgment, though. There is no judgment from our angels. They're not there to judge us. They are sent from God to give us whatever it is we need. And in Gary's case, they gave him a message which freed him from the guilt, from the hurt, from all of those things that he's been feeling all of these years. You go from what you think is a remarkably close family, wonderful nephews and niece, wonderful nephew, wonderful grandnephews and grandnieces. In Gary's case, he's had to watch his mother have to deal with all of this and the hurt and the pain that it has caused her, only to be given a message by an angel. And I think Gary's mother is as thrilled with this and totally accepts this. She's as thrilled with this and as thrilled with the fact that Steve has finally come to give them a message, as Gary is. So that is my angel story for today. Now, it is Christmas, and at Christmas time, of course, we think about angels, don't we, at Christmas time more than any other time. But no, it doesn't have to be Christmas. It's just that at Christmas we think about these things more. So I just want to give you all a little heads up, because just maybe next time it might be your turn for an angel to come and give you a message. And boy, oh boy, I hope you'll be ready for it, because when an angel comes to you, gives you a message, as they did to Gary, as this guy did to Gary, I mean, it is so special. And even though you might doubt, it didn't happen, no, that couldn't possibly have happened, no, got to call Rosemary, did it happen? No, right. But you know inside of you, absolutely, that you absolutely know that it was not an accident, it was not random. This angel was right there, looking you in the eye and giving you exactly what it is that you need. So the next time you're tempted to push the tramp out of the way, push the old lady on the floor, give her no time at all. The next time you're tempted to be rude to someone or aggressive to someone unnecessarily, or even mean to somebody, just take a step back and think a moment. Is this what our angels want us to see? Is this what our angels want from us? And of course, the answer would be a resounding no. Kindness, loving, and acceptance of all. And all means all, not all but this guy, or all but that woman, or all but acceptance of all. We are human beings with our faults, with our failings. Not one of us would dare to cast the first stone if we were just to take a moment and think about it. Chris, do we have anything from Gary to add to that?
We do. Gary says, now I have to put rocks in my pockets to keep me on the ground.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so let's go to question and answer. I have no idea what the time is. I don't usually have a clock in front of me. So Chris, I'm relying on you to give me a heads up. We have to leave exactly on the dot of 12 because Chris has somewhere to go, and you'd think I'd have somewhere to go, wouldn't you? Well, this is where I'm going. I've got all dressed up for you guys because it's Christmas. And if you can't dress up at Christmas, when can you dress up? Okay.
Eric says, thank you, Gary. Thank you, Rosemary. The words, quote, out, cut the cord, resonate with me in my current situation. Thank you so very much.
Oh, good. So you see, this is the thing. When you come to see someone like myself, you may hear so many things. You may hear messages for other people, but very, very often those same messages that seem to be meant for somebody else resonate within you too. So good. I'm glad, Eric. Good. Cut the cord, baby. Go.
We have many of the people saying, beautiful, Gary, got chills. Danielle says, wow. Rhonda says, amazing to get such a clear message. Beautiful. So there's a lot of people responding to your story.
That's good. Okay, great.
All right. Now I'm going to go back to earlier when everybody logged on and there were some questions early on. This one's from Annika. Good morning, Rosemary and Gray Eagle. I very much enjoyed the Gray Eagle Speaks event. Okay, where did it go here? There was something about the dogs. Oh, it just.
When Chris does this, she's having to scroll up and down, up and down. So we just do have to give her a minute because it's not an easy job.
All right, here it is. I have two little rescued dog sisters that became our family almost 9 years ago. They were estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old. They both have heart disease. Chloe seems to be seemingly far worse than Gigi. I have a feeling Chloe may cross over soon. What does Gray Eagle say?
When it is their time, is what he says. They will cross over in their time. It's not for you to know, it's for you to love them, cherish them, nurture them. This is the problem, you see, when you have pets. This was my problem, but I adore dogs. That's not true. Because I have always had dogs, everybody thinks I'm a dog lover, and I kind of am, but that doesn't mean I love everybody else's dogs. I love my dogs, and of course, I love our little Apache. I don't know if you can see, he was lying on the sofa. I don't know where he is at the moment, but we love our dogs. But we know as soon as we buy an animal or acquire, should I say, an animal, however we do it, whether it's, if my little skunk lady is listening today, I don't know, but whether if it's a skunk or a kitten or a mouse or a hamster, my heart broke when my hamster died. My heart absolutely broke when I was a little girl and my mother stood on the hamster. That's a whole other horrible story. It's Christmas. You don't want these awful stories. But anyway, it doesn't matter what kind of animal it is. When we get an animal, when we accept it into our home, we also accept the fact that, the chances are that we are going to outlive them. The chances are that our responsibility as owners is to take care of them, to nurture them, to feed them, of course, to give them lots of love and kisses and so on. But our job is also to help them with their transition. And although we don't want to think about it, part of our role as responsible owners of our beloved pets is that we nurture them and we help them, and we also, when it's time, we help them into that transition. And I know a lot of people hang on to their pets because they don't want to let them go. It's hard for them. But when you see your pet in need and needing to be let go, then that's the time you, as an owner, as painful as it is, you should let them go. And it's heartbreaking. And we know that having our pets around is heartbreaking. This little puppy will go when it's the right time, as they both will. And in the meantime, just enjoy them and stop worrying so much. Chris.
Judith says, this is the day my sister passed 2 years ago, and this is her birthday. I feel her especially close with me. She gave me a hug because I miss her so much. I do feel her with me daily.
And Judith, I'm absolutely, and Grey Eagle has put his hand on my shoulder when I'm saying this. So he's confirming she is with you, especially today, but most days. You know that she is trying to guide you and to steer you, so you're never on your own. Chris, keep going. Well, what is the time, by the way? How much time do
We have 15 minutes.
Okay, all right. Okay, sorry, I'm putting my leg up here on the chair. Yeah, go ahead.
The Queen of Shades is asking, can Gray Eagle confirm the voice I hear when I need comfort is a past loved one, perhaps my brother?
Okay, you want it, you've got it. All right, so Grey Eagle is telling me there's no doubt, and he feels that really you know this already. You know that your brother is with you, and you know that he is there to comfort and to steer and to guide you. And when you listen to him, you know that it's his voice. You're just wanting confirmation. So I think there you go. Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And you just had it confirmed. Chris.
Violet's asking, do you have any advice on how to get through Christmas? I'm grieving the loss of my family and now my relationship, which ended yesterday. I'm not sure I'm strong enough anymore.
Oh, well, I know you better than that, Violet. You're more than strong enough. And the relationship you think has ended, I don't think has quite ended, actually. But you know, okay, here is you didn't ask for a message, but I'm going to give you the message because Gregel is reminding me that your brother is right there with you and will be with you on Christmas Day, as will Mum and Dad. So even though it feels as if you'll be on your own, I can honestly tell you you'll be surrounded. I hope that helps you. Also, I don't know quite what that means, but maybe try a bubble bath. I don't know what it means, but maybe you should get yourself some nice smellies and just pamper yourself. Yes, just pamper yourself. Take the whole day. Eat as many chocolates as you want. Drink as much as you want. Enjoy the day knowing that they are absolutely with you. And that goes for so many of us who are having Christmas on our own. Our loved ones in the spirit world are absolutely with all of us and will help us through the day. You know, I think sometimes we forget, and I'm going to, whether or not you forgot, I'm going to remind you anyway. Christmas Day, we celebrate, we love having the kids. We like to see the joy on their faces when they open up their gifts. We cook good food, or those of us who celebrate Christmas, we cook food. If we're fortunate enough, we have friends over, but you know, in my house, we have good food. We're having duck à l'orange for Christmas Day. Yes, you guessed it. I am the chef. I am making that, and it's going to be delicious. And we will have friends over, and so that'll be a nice day. But I'd like to remind you that Christmas is, we've made it about the gift giving. We've made it about the kids. We've made it about look at the lights on the tree. We've made it special. We've made Christmas Day very special, but we've made it special, those of us who believe in Christ. We've made it special for one reason only. It's to celebrate Christ's birth on this earth. And quite honestly, you don't need a whole crowd around you to do that. I asked last week for everyone to let me know what their favorite Christmas carol was, or their favorite Christmas hymn, and Gary said happy birthday. And yes, so if you could all just remember that Christmas first and foremost. It's all very well, the pretty lights and all the rest of it, but they really don't mean a thing if we don't just remember quietly by ourselves the reason that we're doing this is because we're celebrating the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And we all know that he enjoyed himself on Saturday. Can you imagine giving us all the gift of listening to him as he gave messages to some of the people who were in our group on Saturday with Gregor Speaks. As far as I know, I don't remember it ever, so no, it didn't. So Gregor is saying this has never happened before, that Jesus Christ has come into our midst on that particular day when we are doing Gregor Speaks, and it's incredible and it's wonderful. So I know that many of you are missing your family. I know that many of you will be on your own, but your families, your loved ones will be with you. Make it a day that you can do something special for you. Make it a day that if Christ were looking down on you, which we know he is, or I know he is, make it a day that he would be proud to be with you, that he would want to draw close to you. Make it a day that is special by your thoughts, by your deeds to yourself, by giving to yourself, by enjoying things for you. Make it that special day. Chris.
This is from Lonica. Do my son and I move to another house in the year 2025?
If that were an easy question, no, couldn't I? But it's not an easy question. It would depend how determined you are. It would depend on what you really want to do and what your needs are. It would depend on how many times you procrastinate over this and wonder if you're doing the right thing. I can tell you that moving is the right thing to do. Moving is definitely what you will do at some point. Whether it's next year or not is your choice, but it does seem to be almost, well, it isn't inevitable that you will move. So, my view would be stop procrastinating and get on with it then. But that's me. All right, Chris, next question.
Teresa says, Vermont, period. Is my father aware of stuff going on here?
Everything. And he doesn't much like it. He tells me to tell you, hold on to your hat. Hold on to your hat because it's going to get worse before it gets better. But it will get better. So that's good. Chris.
G. Ravi says, while the soul's taking many births, will they be remembering the parents and relatives of every birth or only the last one?
We're talking now about reincarnation. That's a whole other topic. I'm going to suggest that, I'm not saying that there is no such thing as reincarnation, but I do not believe that we bob up and down and there are all these many lives and so on. No, it's not for me, but I don't want to, I'm not disparaging whatever your beliefs are. So I'm going to pass on the question because it's far more complicated an answer than we have time for today.
Okay, I'm trying to see. Clara says, can I ask my mom-in-law, can she help us encourage Papa, Gary, to come and visit us? Any suggestions?
Hmm. Okay, I'm going to give you a cryptic answer. There will be a journey. Whether it's you to him or him to you is debatable. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Wow. Okay, Chris.
Danielle says, my dog was poisoned, left too soon, and his spirit is now in my rescue dog for 4 years now. I finally accepted his passing and now am ready to let them both go when the time for my current dog comes.
Okay, okay. All right. I think I wish we had time to say more about that, but we don't. So acceptance is a good thing. So thank you for letting us know that.
All right, what we
Or
have,
do I ever really want to say more? But we're not going to do it today. We don't have time to do it today because we're almost at time, right?
right, what I have left are more comments. So Mary Lou says, thank you for this today. You look beautiful and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Yes.
Carson Twiggy Leaf is on. She's wishing a Merry Christmas.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Gary says, now I have 2 angels. One is at Sam's Club and the other one is in New York City.
Oh, well, actually, thanks, Gary. Well, actually, listen now. The one that you think is at Sam's Club he's not there anymore. He disappeared, right? He went back where he belongs. So I don't want anyone getting the impression that there's a poor angel stuck in Sam's Club, wheeling trolleys around. That's not how it works. But I know what you mean. Thank you, darling.
All right, so you're down to like 2 minutes, Rosemary.
Okay, well, all right, then I'll take this 2 minutes. This is what I wish for all of you, and I probably will not be seeing you until January because next Thursday is Boxing Day, and we should be celebrating here, so we won't be doing a show. It's Boxing Day for all of you in England. Merry Christmas to all of you in my homeland. I do miss you all, and we'll be talking soon. I wish all of you. Apparently, it's not. Somebody told me the other day it's not politically correct to say Merry Christmas because was it Mr. Obama who thought we should say Happy Holidays? No, I I I celebrate Christmas. I would also say to people who celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. I'm not going to be whatever it is politically correct because I don't think it's right. I've always said Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm going to continue to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and it sounds perfectly fine to me. If you celebrate another holiday, I would say Merry whatever that holiday is to all of you because saying Merry Christmas is how we wish people joy and happiness. When we say Merry Christmas, it's a sort of I don't know, it's perhaps pre-Victorian, but definitely comes from Victorian times. And I absolutely refuse to allow one or two politicians who don't think it's politically correct. Well, go find your own way of saying Merry Christmas then. Leave me alone. I'm saying Merry Christmas. I'm going to continue to say Merry Christmas to all of you. I refuse absolutely to be dictated to when I'm wishing somebody joy and happiness and all good things, which is what I wish all of you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays to all of you who don't celebrate Christmas. Happy birthday. Let's say happy birthday to our Lord Jesus Christ, because boy, oh boy, do I love him. Gregel and I wish all of you, is laughing at me. Gregel and I wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And please go out there in the streets and never mind the happy holidays stuff. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas. Christmas is such a special, such a magical time. And why wouldn't we wish somebody to have a joyful Christmas, have a Merry Christmas, have a great holiday, have a great whatever it is, have great Hanukkah, everybody. It might be a bit too late for Hanukkah, but still, Merry Hanukkah, everybody. All of that stuff. Express yourself how you want to. Let's stop, shall we, being dictated by people who think we should speak a certain way. And let's speak from our heart the words that we want to say as individuals. That's what I'm doing. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a happy and a wonderful new year. And I will see you in the new year. And I won't be wearing the glitz anymore. That'll come off. But do please have a joyful day, whether you're on your own. Be joyful in the fact that your loved ones in the spirit world are with you. Be joyful that your angels are around. Try and remember the angel story we told today, Gary's angel story. Our angels are everywhere. They come in disguises, so watch yourself, you know. It's a bit scary, that, isn't it? And just have the most blessed time that you could possibly have. And remember this, we are celebrating at this moment in time Christ's birthday. And you know what? If you don't know Christ or if you don't believe in Christ, I've said happy birthday to people in restaurants I didn't even know. You know, when somebody else is singing to them happy birthday, I'll sing along. Be joyful, be happy, be uninhibited, be unencumbered by what is supposed to be correctly or politically correctly said, and just say what you're feeling from your heart. For goodness sake, it's time we stood up and said what we feel. So I wish you joy. I wish you happiness. I wish you merry. And I wish you a very, very blessed rest of today. Excuse me. A very blessed weekend. A very blessed Christmas, everyone. A very blessed holiday. A very blessed Happy New Year. Happy Christmas. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.